And now, the host of the PhxDev Show, Mark Scott.
Hum along every time. I just get a little dance going. Like, it just gets me amped. I don't know. I just like that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know if it was punk rock, that might be better. But I'm telling you, it's hard. It's hard to find a punk rock band that's putting anything out there for non-copyrighted use.
You know what you got to do? This is a call. You got a call to action. Anybody who's in a band who can do punk rock kind of like cover music for Mark,
do it up.
Get in touch.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is the PhxDev Show. I am your host, Mark Scott, also known as PhxDev. Sweaty Dev today. It's very hot in Phoenix. It's incredible.
Why do you live there? I thought that place was called the Surface of the Sun.
Yeah. You don't have to shovel it though. Like it's not that bad. Like at least you don't have to do anything. You just stay inside. It is the lazy man's paradise, I guess you could say, because there's no beaches. There's no seagulls or anything to make a mess in your house, like on like stoops and stuff in your house. There's no hurricanes or natural disasters. Like,
do you guys even use like cooking pans? Can you guys just cook outside on the cars?
No, but what's funny? There's a moratorium all summer now in my house about cooking indoors. Like we have to either cook on the grill, use like the Ninja Foodie or something. Like we have to use some other. You can't use the oven; it heats the whole house up. I'm in an old house, and my AC units are not. They're doing their damnedest, but they're just barely keeping it together. So yeah, Yeah, it's crazy.
Gonna have to upgrade those AC units.
No, I don't. Come on, I rent. Like I'm done. Like I'm gonna go buy a brand new house that someone already put like AC units on because that's expensive around here.
All right.
Yeah, but a terrible segue. I've got which I think we're famous for. But I was gonna ask you a question, and we were kind of discussing it before we jumped on here. But Have we come full circle, Jace? Like, are we now the people who are making the news? Like, if I talk about it on this stream, does it become ServiceNow news? Like, is it ServiceNow news? How does that feedback loop actually work?
Wait, I mean, it's not going to be recursive. To get recursive, you have to draw a comic.
No, I'm not going to. Well, first of all, Jeff Pierce can do all that. I'm not doing that stuff. Like, no, I can't do it. But I'll tell you what, like, I've got a question for you. And if I say it, so like, I'm going to cut it. I will cut this out and I will share it so that it becomes a soundbite, right? Like one of our little
sure.
All right. But if that happens, if I, Mark Scott, PhxDev, say this into the ServiceNow ecosystem, does that make it ServiceNow news?
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
Is it?
All right. Well,
I mean, people say a lot of things. And I just try to keep the stuff relevant to ServiceNow in a little tiny 5-minute clip that is helpful for people every week.
But if it helps people, like let's say it helps ServiceNow people.
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay, so here it is.
All right.
That was my cut mark, by the way. That was where I noticed. Okay, here it is. That's my lead into my.
There you go.
Right. I'm trying to make this on the fly, people. It's going very poorly. But here's the thing: Domino's, the pizza chain, has 50% off all week. Any pizza nationwide.
Is this sponsored by Domino's?
No one's sponsoring this. This is out of the kindness of my own damn heart, right? Like,
that's so kind of you.
Be a ServiceNow person, like influencer, whatever the terrible word is that I don't even want to admit, right? I'm like, then I'm gonna lead with some hard-hitting journalism, and if you want half off a pizza, Domino's has a deal all week, right?
I know a better deal in town.
Yeah. What a great segue. What deal could you possibly know, Jace?
There's 100% off deal happening right now.
It's free.
It's free. Right. You just got to go to my website and click on. I'm just kidding. No, it's the CSA certificate.
Yes. The big news. It's the summer of certification. That's what I'm declaring it. Yeah, summer certification. CSA all summer long, free until August 31st. Which, by the way, if if deadlines kind of make you nervous, dare I remind thee, deltas are due, people. Deltas are due. Like, make sure you're getting your deltas done. I actually had a little.
But this time though, you can miss it for the CSA because you can just get the CSA again.
No, don't. That's terrible. Don't do that. No, it's much easier to get a delta like done than it is to go take those.
Do you get like an achievement for so many deltas getting done?
Yeah, you get the satisfaction of a continuing certification, my friend. Like that's the achievement. I don't know, and you know what? Oh man, yeah. I mean, maybe that's a great one. I'll bring it up. You're talking to the right person. Like, I'll bring it up. It's like, hey, could we do this? Yeah, but deltas are due. You can do it. Don't try to cheat like this person. You can do it on your own, right? Don't write.
Oh, the person in your clip. I thought you were talking about me.
Yeah. Sorry. No, the people. No, look. See. Oh no, I just double clicked and made myself full screen, and that's exactly the opposite of what. See, look. Now I'm just going to take it over, right? And then it's like, no, it's me. It's all the stuff in mine. But I don't know. I haven't been interested in doing that recently, but I've got what. So yeah, you already stole my thunder, dude. Like, here, I've got a whole graphic for this. Like,
I didn't know you were gonna go into it. I mean, I should have known.
I mean, no, come on. Like, half the time, this show is barely keeping it together, right?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of other non-ServiceNow proper free stuff out too, though.
Yeah. Well, okay. Again, wait, what an excellent segue into something that I've been building, which I think I wanted to just let everybody else know, right? And you had actually reviewed this with me yesterday.
Did I?
Yeah, you took a look at it. I'm going to try to put together a doc, okay? A doc of interview questions, common interview questions that people may encounter, right, as they're preparing for jobs in ServiceNow. Right. And I've broken it out in a couple of different, like, here it is for devs, here it is for admins, and here it is for both. Right. What would be each. I will be releasing that as kind of like a PDF as a version 1. I think definitely, I haven't gotten any outside consult on this yet. So there may be questions that, burning questions that are very good ServiceNow questions that people would like to add to that document. But I'm going to release it out to the community absolutely for free. So anybody that's interested in using that document to either conduct their interviews or prepare themselves for interviews are more than welcome to. And I'll throw a link on my website and down below in the show notes there. But that's not what we're here to talk about, is it, Jace?
I don't know. What are we here to talk about there, Mark?
Wow.
Please introduce the show.
Let's introduce the show. Maybe the two of us can stop talking for so long. Comments. Not YouTube comments. I'm talking like
I mean, the YouTube comments are quite fun. Did you read the YouTube comment by Tim?
Yeah, Tim's lighting it up. I mean, thank you, Tim, for your one comment. ServiceNow is no longer an ITSM platform. It is now a Penguin.
Penguins are, in fact, amazing, if you didn't know.
It's breaking news. You heard it here, folks. Like, I probably know you'll probably hear it on Jace's news thing first. I think the show does better in syndication than it does live, honestly. But we'll see. Anyway, no comments. So first of all, if you are in chat, please do leave a comment because it's oddly silent today. But commenting code. Did you? Oh no, Jace just fell off. Commenting code is incredibly important, especially as you start writing more and more complicated code, or particularly if you are giving code to someone else to maintain. You need to document it, and I argue very much so that the documented code is comments. Like, I can't have one without the other, right? I can write the in exposition in Word all day long, but really it's the code that is going to tell me, how things are going. The thing is, sometimes I don't know. Like, you don't really know, and you have to dig in there for getting the logic just right. And that's where I find comments to be incredibly insightful, right? I write myself comments all the time. I write other people comments all the time. I refer to other people in my comments all the time. But yeah, I'm excited, Jace. We're just gonna let's dive into this. First of all, do you have, and I know this sounds totally just off the wall, do you have a favorite comment that you've ever left in code?
I have comments I regret.
Oh, Well, we don't have to go into that here, but
I mean, no, I don't have a favorite comment,
okay.
but generally my comments that I enjoy the most are the ones that tell me why I shouldn't edit this code or why I should, like, where the problem is with the code before I
Mhm.
get there. Like
Yeah.
leaving a / to do, you never finished this, past you apologizes. Like
Right.
like
Right.
that's a, like that's the worst best comment.
I very frequently write, I call them time travel comments because I'm talking to my future self, right? Where I'm like, and and when I say I'm talking to my future self, I literally mean, hi future Mark dash, like, this is what this thing is actually doing and why you did it, because I'm going to forget, right? And that, to me, that comment is a reminder in my own words that maybe, like, here's how you can get yourself out of trouble. But you touched on something just slightly about, like, commenting code that kind of has the, like that, like, don't touch this, like, here be dragons kind of code, right? And my favorite is, I think it came out of Microsoft, where it said, only God and I knew who, or what this code did when I wrote it, and now only God knows. If you've spent more than like 1 hour here, like, uptick the incrementer, and it was up to like 36 hours or something like that, where it was like, yeah, it sometimes, like, in the stroke of sheer brilliance, you have this idea and you put it together and you get it working, and then you come back a week later and you're like, what was I doing? You have no idea what that was.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, I don't think I've ever left myself a cryptic message like that, but I
Mm,
know I definitely apologize to my future self occasionally, but not
yeah.
by name. It's more like I just apologize to who might ever come across the comment.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
If I
I
leave my name in there, people reach out to me, and I don't mind that.
Yeah. I
But
find 9 times out of 10 it's me reading it again. You know what I mean? Like, I might write it to someone else, but it's me. Like, it's me again. And a funny thing happened after I started at ServiceNow. About a year and a half after I started at ServiceNow, uh, someone someone, I will not name names of who or what the situation was, but they reached out to me and said, "Thank you so much for commenting this." And it was a paragraph. It was a full-on paragraph of, like, why I did what I did, but it was in snarky, like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and now I have to go and deal with this, and instead of doing this, like, thing that I tried to optimize, it's like, I just did it this way. And I wrote this, like, kind of half snarky comment because it was really late at night. Yeah, that was like one of my favorites. The other one was, do you use emojis in your comments?
I I want to, but I'm
Okay.
afraid the ServiceNow backend won't like them because it's not ECMA 6, it's ECMA 5, and not all
Yeah, but
UTF character support works back there, I don't think.
uh, you'd be surprised.
I would be.
As someone who has personally encoded a table flip emoji into a script include, I can tell you, sir, that they are supported.
Can we just really quick back up a second?
Yeah.
Emojis,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Aren't they crazy how they like make them connected? Like you have like the or
Oh, yeah, where you
hand
can
or like
string
thumb
them together.
emoji,
Mhm,
like the
mhm,
thumb emoji connected to like the dark skin tone emoji makes a
mhm.
dark skin tone thumbs up. Like that's
I did not.
amazing.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
And like
Yeah.
that's how the people work. So if you have like a
Oh,
man and a man, it's two men emojis together.
got it,
Or
got it,
if
got
you
it.
have a
Okay.
family, it's a man, a woman, a daughter, a
Oh, I
son, or
didn't know
whatever it
that.
is.
That's
If
interesting.
if you look at the encoding, it is amazing.
That's
Like
crazy.
weird, but
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I've there's a couple of places where I
It
found, like,
makes regex really hard.
well, absolutely, right? Because it's like you put the two man Unicode characters together and it replaces it and makes it like one Unicode. And oh man, I just did that post, right? Like, the times I've had to learn regex, the times I've had to use regex, it's the same picture, and it's like the times regex was the answer, zero, never. Regex is never the answer. Sorry, no, sometimes it is, but usually it's not. Yeah, so back to the comments, right? And I usually have to comment my regex very well because I don't ever go back and there's a couple of tools that I like to use that we had, it's on that post. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on that. But back to comments, right? So how frequently would you say you find yourself? So, like, if I'm in a script of, let's say, 100 lines, what percent of those lines are comments to
I
you?
mean, I just try to add comments where it's unclear what's happening.
Okay.
Like, I don't need to comment like every single if or switch, but if the switch or if isn't clear, like I now am taking the approach of declaring variables that make things really clear. So like instead of if first name is Jace and if last name is Benson, then I don't know, send him a snarky email, right? Instead, I would make a variable is Jace Benson.
Okay.
And then I just do if is Jace Benson, send snarky email, which reads way easier.
Yeah.
As opposed to having like all the conditions in the if block.
See, and I'm with you there to a point, and I think you me and Andrew Albury Dorr were talking about there was a debate about using variable names as documentation, basically. Not, and I'm going extreme, right? But I'm saying like there's a case to be made that your variable names could potentially document your code for you. Is Jace Benson it tells me what it is. It tells me it's a Boolean, right? Like like I should be able to check true or false. I argue that why am I checking is Jace Benson, right? Is where I would probably put a code in, like a comment. I'd put comments in the code at that point. It's like, in what case do I need to be checking for this and why? Right. To me, like in 6 months, I may not remember that there was a business requirement that required this to happen. And I'm like looking at this weird string and it's like, why did I do this again? And that's where I think my comments come in.
I mean, I think a lot of the complexity when debugging that stuff, when we're in like in the code of it, is like understanding the code. Like I've read online, and who knows, statistics are ridiculous online. Nobody knows what they mean. But I've read online like coders, and I think it's true. I spend more time reading code than I spend writing code.
Yeah.
So you want that reading experience to be exquisite, the best it can be. And so if you have to like constantly remember, like, oh yeah, so var first name is Jace, do this, like, and then you have like, if you have like 15 of these ifs,
right?
Like, I don't know, it just makes it more concise and easier to read, less mental load. I
once met a guy. I once met a person. Sorry, I don't even want to put a sex to this person because they make my blood seethe. Like, I met a person that said they didn't like comments because it made the code less readable. Like, how
you can make anything readable.
Yeah, I'm like I could write a string of random characters, right? It's like, how readable is that? Like, at some point you got to put something in the code. But that person's like they were beating that drum, man. Like comments are just it does, it's bad formatting in the code. I'm like, who are you? Like, what planet did you grow up on? Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I've just always thought that it was like necessary, right? Like, I didn't ever have a choice because there were times, like, I don't know. Maybe this is the hack that most people don't realize. Like, I don't know. Most of the time, like, the thing that got me back up to speed on, like, oh yeah, I remember what you were doing 6 months ago when you were trying to fix that bug and then you broke everything for 6 months and then you had to come back to it. And it's like, this is how you're going to do that, right? If I, to your point, have to read through my code every single time, I don't know, I just feel like I needed it to be faster, right? Like I made up for my ineptitude with my note taking. Like, that's how I felt.
Yeah, I think you can't be extreme on either side of this argument. You can't be everything requires no comments and the code should be comment itself. That obviously doesn't work.
Right. There's subtlety.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it does work if you follow like something like what is that? Like the code commenting convention where you declare like this function has this like the JS, what is it called? JS docs, right? And then you could have like a document reader actually read it and build documentation. That's awesome, right?
Yeah.
And TypeScript gets way closer to that than we'll get there with JS docs.
Yeah.
But we're not using TypeScript.
That's actually, I found something very interesting about JS docs out. So let's switch over to JS docs just because it makes sense. I love JS docs. I like JavaScript because it's so loosey goosey, right? Like JS docs to me is so much fun because like there's no real wrong way to do it. Like you can implement 3 or 4 different parameters and just say, hey, everyone has to do, function name, parameters, and return statement, right? Like that's like the bare minimum of things that you can put in there. And it's so much fun to look at. But I was actually I did a little bit of research. Oh, I should have added that to the stream. Here we go. I did a little bit of research on JS docs, okay? And JS docs actually is pretty cool. And if you think
I agree.
I want to pull something out here. An early example of Java doc-like syntax document. That's what we're talking about. So Java doc is actually like how Java pulls all of this stuff out and makes their documentation. And they base JS docs off of Java docs, right? It was released in 1999 with Netscape Mozilla project Rhino. Does anyone know why Rhino is so interesting? Oh, Chuck wants to jump on.
I just sent him a link. Yeah, I mean, if you don't know, ServiceNow's JavaScript engine on the server side uses Rhino.js or a fork there of Rhino.js. Mm-hmm. Last I knew, it was running either 1.5 or 1.7.
Yep.
Obviously, there's been updates to it with the announcement from Knowledge 22 in Australia. They said that they're going to start supporting more ES6 features.
ES6, or baby?
Well, yeah, I'm excited for that stuff.
Isn't that neat? Isn't that going to be cool? I mean, that's going to be game changing. Like,
I mean, it will be for the people that write code, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I guess it comes down on like where you land on like who's doing the coding, right? The low code stuff, it's all abstracted away. You don't see the
which
code,
is great.
Generally.
Which is absolutely great. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's great. Like with the low code stuff abstracted away, and even Andrew was talking about like Flow Designer. Like low code, no code. Where do you put comments in? Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you where some of that stuff goes in. I haven't done a lot with Flow Designer. Like I've done, probably as much as anybody else on Flow Designer. But like for request items, you can add like a log statement in there to like say, here's a log.
Yeah.
That doesn't actually log a thing to try to act like a comment.
So I want to make sure we make the connection, and I'm going to add Chuck onto the stream here. Hey, Chuck, how you doing?
Hey, am I the third caller? Is this the phrase that pays?
You are the third caller. Congratulations. You win the 50% off Domino's coupon for the week. Any pizza you want, 50% off.
Doesn't he have to bring a box in to get that, though? I thought he had to bring a box in to get the coupon.
No, this is the stupid. Why is it stuck in my brain? I have no idea. Domino's has a week-long thing where you can get pizza for half off. I
thought you had to bring a box into the office. Like you had to give them like a cardboard box, like kind of like the Chipotle free. I don't know.
No. Anyway. So I wanted to bring it back.
Thanks for letting me derail your conversation.
Right? Yeah. Am I the third call? Like it didn't take that much, Chuck. Like it really didn't.
It's not hard to do.
So
Jason and I already talked today.
Yeah, there you go.
It's true. We did.
Yeah, we recorded an episode of Breakpoint.
What? That's awesome. That's so cool.
You could say that might be newsworthy.
It'll come out on the 29th of June. So in case somebody's watching this later.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. So anyway, so what I wanted to bring up with SN Docs, right? So SN Docs is ServiceNow's answer, right, to JS Docs, which is JavaScript's answer to Java Docs, right? So we've come all the way around, full circle almost with this. But what it does,
I've never used SN Doc.
Me neither. If it's the answer, what was the question?
What? No, what? No way.
I've used SDoc before.
This is the answer to that. When I comment, I do like a JS Docs Lite. I make sure that my functions have, like you say, a description, input parameters, return value. Sometimes, if I'm really lucky, I say these are the objects that it also uses, like this dot some function name, so that I can remember dependencies. But I am by no means adhering to the Wikipedia page that you had. Or I would have 90% comments and 10%.
No, it's and I'm not into that either, right? Like it gets crazy. You can go to the JS Docs like website, and it gives you the full specification. It's nuts. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and I would never expect anyone to put every single one of them in.
That being said, though, if your organization does have some sort of coding standards, please follow them. If they don't, make something up, and something is better than nothing.
Here's a free one. You're more than welcome to have it, right? Like
Right.
This is Google's standard, and they're just like, here, have, or I don't think it's Google's standard, but it is a standard, and everyone just kind of adheres to that. And what's funny is when you talk to someone like Chuck, who's like, well, I do like, JS Docs Lite with SN Docs, right? I can go and yank all that stuff out and basically make this documentation up at the top, right? And Chuck didn't even know that. Like he's like, oh, I adhere to this standard. It's like, yeah.
This actually generates documentation?
Yeah.
Have you used this, Mark?
Where does it go? And do you just get a big HTML field after you run something on your script include, or what?
Okay, so
I've never seen this before, and yet here it is on our own developer portal. Who wrote this?
Portal. So
Must be a joker.
It's got to be a Josh or a Dave thing. Andrew wrote this.
Andrew wrote this.
2018. Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Huh.
This is old hat. Honestly, I don't know. I think there's a KB. I think it spits out a KB article.
Well, that would be interesting.
I actually. Can you scroll down a little bit here? I just want to see what it says.
It's all.
Curse you for ruining my weekend.
Yeah. Right. So that's
play with it's a share.
Yeah, it's a share. It's a share app.
Oh, okay. So it's not an API that we'd find on developer.
No.
Oh, okay.
Is it a ServiceNow supported share item though, or is it a custom?
If it's on share, it's probably not supported.
No.
Oh, Mark.
Like everything on this show, it is very much so a separation of responsibilities here. So no, it's not. But I've never actually outputted to the UI. What I've been able to do is when we've done the JS Docs stuff, it just becomes so much more formatable within the code that we didn't even need. Like we would just take this out and put it into wikis, right?
Yeah,
we find wikis that would format it the way we wanted it and have it, available for everybody. So yeah, because our problem was once it was outputted, we didn't know which instance to put it into, right? Like, do you take SN Docs with you to production? I probably wouldn't, right? And so that was where we kind of stopped. But yeah, I mean, potentially could output like this. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah.
So SN Doc on the share portal was written or contributed by Callum Ridley.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The hero we deserve, I guess. I don't know.
How old is this though?
Nowadays though, it's like this here could be helpful if you want to like enforce like that code consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Mark R. Rothfer. How do you say his last name?
Ruthoff.
The one who's always about the instant scan stuff.
Mark Ruthoff.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's all about like using instant scan like to help everybody make everything better. Like if you want to ensure you have good comments, add an instant scan to check your custom stuff to make sure it has comments in it where you expect them to be. And that being said, I can't imagine writing a script that reads your code to determine whether or not it's commented.
I've done that.
You can say, hey, do comments exist? But how could you tell it to verify that like that parameter was documented?
Because if you did it in JS Docs syntax or SN Docs syntax, that's what we can check off of. Yeah.
Yeah, and finding all the different ways people can comment. Well, there's // but there's also a series of // or there's // on the same line, or there's like yikes. Yeah, I've written one of those before.
Yep.
We were talking about this earlier, Jace. It's one of those things that one I didn't do for fun. I did it because I had to, but now that I've done it, I'm like, I'm never doing that again.
Never do that again. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. Right. I mean, you talk about regex being a nightmare, right? Like that's exactly what you're getting into at that point, right?
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that was kind of. I mean, honestly, because I know those matching patterns go into some of those health scan things where I'm like, some regex wizard somewhere knows how to do this. It is not I. But yeah, so what we did with our scans, because that's how now learning goes to production, right? We have to go through the security scans. We then go through our health scans with our own, everything that we go through because it's just part of our test automation. The documentation, the comments is part of that. Because it is in SN Docs / JS Docs format, we can write those equators in it. Yeah.
And then, okay, that makes sense. I suppose if you wanted to enforce like those, but somebody could just write an SN Docs thing that doesn't actually map to the actual code.
I mean, sure, but you would imagine someone that's going to be that's going to get caught in code review.
Hopefully.
Caught in code review.
Hopefully.
should get caught in code review. But you would imagine that's where that's gonna. First of all, it's gonna flag. Well, I don't know. You're right.
I'm just saying, like, you can't rely on the code to do all the work for you. That's all.
Absolutely, that's where a human gets involved with code review. But yeah, this is getting out of hand. Like this is
taking on my alternate personality,
dude. John, Chase wears sunglasses at night. I love it. Like that should be the new like theme. Like it should just be like you and like some like 80s like theme, like with the sunset in the background and like the palm trees going, and it's just you just like, yeah. Like
I need a cowboy hat to go with it. So when I'm talking about doing bad stuff, it's like, I mean, like,
oh man, it's the cowboy hat, the sunglasses. You could totally. It doesn't have to be 80s anything. Now you could just go. We could start a ZZ Top cover band. Like
we got two beards and
yeah. I'll
there
just
there you go.
Rusty Hill with the short one or whatever it was. Like one of them.
How?
Oh man.
Oh boy, this went down.
Derailed again.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I like getting derailed. This is fun. Yeah, I mean, go ahead,
Chuck.
What?
How do you comment your low code solutions? You read a lot more than I do.
Depends
But I
on
know
how
you're
low
probably
code
making
you're
them-
talking. I often start my things as low code, but then I add more code when I find out that I need more code.
Yeah.
Let's take conflict checking in the loaner app, for example.
Sure.
I rewrote that for a live demo at Knowledge. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of stuff in that original app that I wrote in 2010 that could be turned into low code. And I can do it in probably a 10th of the time that I could. But you get up to a certain point, like conflict checking.
right?
First,
right.
when you're making the reservation to say, hey, what resources are available in that magical reference qualifier that says what's checked out, what's not checked out, what's available, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you submit to say, look, I saw that it was available. Is it still available, or did somebody beat me to the punch on that thing? So there's no way around that. You have to do some glide query checking.
Yeah.
All the rest of it, like the notifications and the scheduled jobs and stuff, that's all codeless now.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that you got to script, and I do put in the comments in the coded spot. I would say to make a short answer, a long answer out of your short question, if it's more than about 5 to 10 lines of code, I better have some comments in there explaining to some poor sucker later on what I did.
but
it
do
may
you
not
add
be all that
comments
obvious.
somehow to your flows?
To the flows?
To the low code solution section.
Oh, you like put annotations on a
So
flow?
like I know way back when legacy workflow was the thing, I would add branches that didn't actually branch anywhere, just to indicate, hey, this section does this thing.
What a mess.
That sounds like
right?
one of those crazy homes that are on like there's a staircase going to nowhere.
I get it. Legacy workflow is not the desired thing anymore. But I'm just saying, like
I'm not
that
saying
was a way. That was a way that I indicated to my future self, like if I get in here and there's a problem with I don't know, access to Novell NetWare email client. Sorry, it was from a long time ago.
What?
Just my memories. That's where it's from.
I can see Jace writing a flow with a spoke now to Novell NetWare.
With Novell NetWare, like, oh
right.
man, that
There's a popular one.
Holy
Or
cow.
there's another one, like maybe it's access to, I don't know, to like a Jabber client or something. Who knows, right? Not just naming random software.
I would say at a minimum, please use the description fields for your flows so you can indicate the purpose of them. And if you're getting into, technically flows aren't supposed to be that complex anyway, but if you're starting to get a more complex one, those annotations at the beginning or that go alongside or just below your actions and logic, that makes a lot of sense. Use them. If you think to yourself, am I going to be able to decipher this in 6 months or a year when I got to come back and maintain this? And if I ever want to get out of this job and get promoted into something else, is somebody going to be able to follow along without calling me up and saying, what are you doing here? Can you explain this flow?
Or,
So I was in a lab.
Anything.
I was in a lab at K22 with Carlene Carter. She was doing a thing on making one flow to rule them all.
Mhm.
And in that thing, she had a thing where you moved your mouse just barely above the line in the flow designer to add a stage,
Yes.
right? Can you do that in non-item workflows? Non-item flow
Yes.
designers?
Oh, wait. Can you put stages on non?
Think
I thought
You know what I
so.
mean?
I thought so.
Like,
I'd have to
because
verify
it
that.
seemed like a really useful thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for the stage itself, but for that kind of stuff.
I'm pretty sure you can. You can, at the bare minimum, you can put an annotation on almost anything in Flow Designer, I
Right.
think. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the stage serves a different purpose than a comment.
Obviously, yeah, but
Put
yeah.
an annotation on a log statement.
I logged this because I didn't know what was happening. Like, yeah,
And the annotation simply says send log message.
yeah. No, I mean, what I love. I saw a piece of code that someone had shared. It was someone had. It was like JavaScript, like logger. So it was like the variable was named logger. So the whole statement was like var logger equals new logger, and then it was logger.get logger. Like it was like, what? Like, no, you can't.
The comment
do
was the code. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the code actually said, like, or not, the comment wasn't the code. I'm far away from comments now.
Okay.
We've gone way far away off the reservation. No, I'm just kidding. No, they were sharing like comments like that they thought was funny, and that was like this thing, right? Like,
Gotcha.
it was like this logger log get logging. Like, it just didn't make any sense. Like, you
Did
couldn't
someone
read it.
say logger? Oh,
Right. There you go.
I need another
Log.
beer.
That's awesome. What was that ding? Was that you, Chuck?
Yeah, but my soundboard isn't like the active application, so it takes like 2 minutes for it to register the key press on the iPad to playing the
Got it.
sound on the computer.
Hmm.
So I just gave up. You might hear another one later. I don't know.
It's a mystery when that thing's coming.
Back when we were talking about Carlene Carter, I pushed the button.
we got to make another dingable sound thing in between then and now. Let's address.
I got to wake up the
Ashira's-
other machine. That's what it is. I got to step off camera and wake it up.
Let's address Arsha's question here.
Yes. What do you guys typically put in your documentation when there isn't a description field on the given script, on the update set itself, or on the story? I challenge you to find me a script that doesn't have a comments or description field.
Yeah.
They
I-
pretty much
hold
all
on,
do.
I'm
There's even
thinking.
a description field on business rules, but it's not on the default form. So that's one of the first things I always
Yeah,
call out. Is like,
I'm
please
thinking-
bring that out.
UI actions, maybe.
They have one.
Yeah, because it's a description of the UI action. So yeah, you could write it in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. I guess you would say it's not necessarily like directly into the code, right? Because it might be more of a description of the UI action. But yeah, I'm with you, Chuck. Like, the closest I can. Like, that's the.
But yeah, where do you put it? You should use the description field or comments. I think that's what it is on client scripts, if I remember right.
Mhm.
I think there's
and-
like
but-
two sides. Oh, good.
Put the comments in the code itself.
Yeah, put
You
it
got
in
a block of logic, and if it's more than 5 or 6 lines, explain what that logic is doing, even if it's a one-liner that just says, get user from client side or something from
right.
server. Just because somebody who comes along isn't going to know what a glide Ajax is in the first place and go, what is
Exactly.
this? So you can explain in high level what you're doing, and then they would know where to go to look to decipher the rest.
It was. Oh, we pulled clicked it.
No description on
Yeah.
portal pages.
pages,
Typical
yeah.
that comments CSS. But there's no code in pages either.
Yeah, I'd argue you probably
There's
shouldn't
code
be
in
writing
widgets.
code.
Well,
Like,
on pages you can have CSS overrides, right?
Sure.
Okay. And you can put
you
comments
can
in
have widget
CSS.
option.
Right.
Can you have the options too? I'm
I'm
not
not a
sure.
CSS genius.
Here's what I would say. I would say as close to the code as possible. And my thinking on that is, I've been through a migration from, what was it, TFS to ServiceNow, right? Where we were just like, okay, and here's where the stories aren't going to be anymore. Like, in the morning, you're just going to go into ServiceNow, right? And that's what we did. And I argue that if you put it in a story, if you put it in, oh man, please don't take this the wrong way with anybody that's listening that's a project manager. I wouldn't put any of my technical documentation inside my project management software, right? Like,
No.
it can get moved, it can get like altered. Like, you probably want to have your own tool other than the stories. Just anywhere other than the stories, in my opinion.
I mean, I think this touches on two things, right? One is, well, first I want to address the comment thing on the update sets that Philip brought up, because I think it's all kind of related, just to get all the stuff nearest to the code. So arguably, right, if there isn't a comment on the record, you can always comment the update set thing, right? Which I know that they used to do at Novant Health. Somebody used to say that they did that stuff with their peer reviews. But if you can't comment the stuff there, right? Maybe comment it near there, like you're saying, like the next nearest thing.
The next
is there
nearest place I can put it. Yep.
Right. If you can't comment it there, like I'm trying to think of like what types of documentation you might be putting into the portal page. Like maybe this page is for accessing the user profile and they should be able to set their password and it's supposed to use this stuff here. And maybe that stuff doesn't belong in the comments. Maybe this stuff belongs in like some documentation of like how this thing works.
Yes.
And I don't know like where to draw that line between documentation and commenting, right?
I
sometimes it's blurry.
I see it pretty. I've got a pretty good I think I've got a pretty good measuring stick of that, because if it's functional documentation, like if I'm saying how this thing works, that goes somewhere else, right? Like if I'm telling you technically like what, like this widget loads this thing that, there's a checkbox that does something special. That's what I'm going to write in there. I'm not going to write like we made this widget
in there being the comments or the documentation.
In the documentation. If it's functional, it goes in some documentation, whether that's a Word doc or a knowledge base article or something. That's somebody to learn how your system behaves.
Yep.
If you're looking at the implementation, that's what goes in the comments.
Yep. Thank you, Chuck. I started saying this and that instead of what I was actually thinking.
Words, Mark, words.
No,
I mean,
relax the pronouns.
Still learning. I'm still learning.
This is complicated. You should read up on it.
What, the words?
There's a t-shirt right there. This is complicated. You should read up on it.
Yeah.
Jason's good for the quotes.
I love that one. That's a good one. Yeah, look for that.
Well, I was trying to make a play on the JavaScript this.
Oh, you could put that in code.
There you go. Yeah,
this dot is complicated.
Yeah.
Equals you parenthesis read up on it.
It's kind of like the whole check with Pradeep thing, right? Like where it's like if this is complicated, it's like just ask Jace. Like
what? No. Don't put that in your code. Trust me. I might not know the answer. I mean, so I have a thing where I forget these answers on purpose. I just remember how I would solve it, and I try to solve it that way every time.
Yeah,
because
I mean, and I think you hold a very interesting like both of you, I think, hold very interesting distinctions. I've probably linked to both either a video or a blog post of yours, Jace, or something. I've probably both of you individually have had comments linked to your content because I'm like, oh yeah, this is where I figured this out, right? And
go watch this video or read this blog article or something.
This thing, yeah. Like, so first of all, thank you for whatever those are. I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's something. But I think it's interesting, like when it comes full circle, right? Where sometimes I find things that Jace has written where I'm like, what the hell? Like he was telling me about this like 6 months ago, right? And then like I do a search and it's like there's the thing that Jace wrote, and it's like I'm putting that in the comments because I'm not looking for it a second time. Like it's I say put anything in your comments that could help you, even if it seems stupid.
That brings up another one that I started about a year ago. Is put a comment in there about the story that you're implementing. Because you're going to get into this maintenance mode later on and go, why did I put that there? That doesn't look like it even belongs there. Well, if you got a little moniker to yourself that says //stry blah, 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 you know what to go reference that unwinds your memory and goes, oh yeah, that was a fix for this.
Right.
And you may have thought of a different way to do it now, maybe better, maybe not. Sure. But at least you've got that fingerprint there that says, look, I was jacking with this code one day to fix this problem. Otherwise, I've come back to code later on that doesn't have that. And I go, what? This doesn't look right. Doesn't make sense. But, in some drug-induced haze, I must have fixed it. So not saying I do don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs.
But, sober Chuck thanks you later.
Right. Well, and it's funny that you said that because that's exactly what I was going to kind of pounce on. It's like I've had a couple of beers and figured something out. Right. Where it's kind of like it just shakes something loose. I don't know what it is. I'm not advocating
creativity juice.
Yeah. It's that social lubricant / creativity juice, right? Like it shook something loose, and then I went and wrote like, it's like a beautiful mind, like it's coming out of me, and like just I'm writing it all over the place. And then like the next morning I wake up and I take an aspirin because I'm now over the age of 25, and like, what happened? Like, where did this come from? And I have no idea. And it's the comments, and I'm telling you, if it's not a habit when you're this is the worst advice I've ever seen.
It's not a habit when you're sober. You're never going to think of it
drunk.
when you're in the bag, right?
It's so bad, but it's true. Like,
I mean,
the only reason I'm so diabolical about my comments is so that when I have a couple of beers, I make sure I know what's going on. Like, that's it. Oh, it's terrible.
Yep. I mean, it's all about just being nice to your future self.
Oh,
Yeah, and the future others.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
but if you're nice to your future self, you're just inherently going to be nice to the others.
Well, I don't know. I'm my own worst enemy.
Well, I mean, if you're writing nicely to yourself, hey, you need to fix this later, right?
No, I'm abusive to my former self or to my future self, where I'm like, hey, you idiot, don't touch this ever again. Like, don't.
That's Tuesday Mark's problem.
Right. I mean, I've written that like, good luck, dude. Like, I don't know. Like,
I think I have some of those comments in my old code. You know what's funny is when you're writing code in 1995, 2020 seems like an awful long way away. And I actually have a longtime friend and coworker that has the dubious job of maintaining this 25-year-old code, and something stopped working, and he came across one of those kind of good luck dude messages. And we talk every month, and I laughed so hard. I haven't been at that company in 12 years. And he's stuck holding the bag.
I can still remember, like, holding the bag. I still remember I told my juniors about this project. It was a bad project. We were way behind. It was all this stuff. But I remember just hammering, like, literally I was having to do some like reflection and crazy like CS stuff to get all these objects in. It was in my C# days. And I remember just saying, this code is so inefficient, it makes me cry, but the deadline is tomorrow. This is me crying, but this is me crying even worse if I don't make this.
He's got emojis in there crying.
Yeah, I had the crying emojis in there. Like, I was like, this is me crying, but there's nothing I can do about it. Like,
right.
yes.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with putting like another thing that I like to do is, in JavaScript, it would say / to do : leave yourself little notes of, hey, if I get time to come back here, I want to fix this, or I want to add this functionality. It's not really a backlog of stories, but it's a little nice reminder that, we should do this one day. Make this more efficient, or to do when we get to ES6, let's collapse this stuff. Something like that is very nice.
Yeah, well, especially now when you're going to have to go in and finding all that code, where it's like, ooh, now we got to go refactor all of that, right? For me, the to do, the / to do, like I usually have it as a keyboard shortcut, right? Like I know I have it in every editor I have memorized. Like
you might be using it too much if you're using
no, because I use it as my pause. Like,
to do, write code here later.
Yeah, to do, like, it's just like, I don't know if you guys know this, but when you become an architect, all you do is just stub out to-dos and then hand it to developers. Like, that's it. That's all we do. Like, come on.
Wow, that doesn't leave them much for creativity, does it?
I know, right? It's like, to do, write this line, to do, write the next line. Like,
uncomment this line.
This stuff just writes itself, fellas. Like, I don't know why you guys are having a problem with it. No, I swear, like, someone on my team's gonna be like, what are you talking about?
What do you say you do for the company?
Yeah, what would you say you do here, Bob? I totally just forgot where I was going with this, but like,
get it again, ring the bell.
Do it again, yeah, dude, ring the bell. The junior. So I just told them the story about the crying and all this stuff, but moving forward, right? Moving forward to like, what's the next thing I got to do? Like, I'll put a to do in if someone comes and bothers me, right? Like someone comes and bothers me, I hit like my special little magic keyboard command, and I know exactly what line I was because there's a to do sitting there, right?
That's a good idea,
right? Like, it's a weird hack. I know it is, but like, I don't know. You remember what was it? Who did the
Well, can I
SNL?
go back just a second? I want to understand why do you add a marker when somebody bothers you at that
So
spot?
you can read, because getting back into that train of thought, you want to leave a little mnemonic to say, I was doing this, or I was thinking this, or here's what was next.
Yeah. Here's the next
Because
line.
if you go, oh, I'm in the middle
Obviously,
of
I
something,
don't do this.
and you have to
but-
go to a meeting or something, you're like, oh, that 30
the
minutes went
worst.
really fast. But I've got another hour this afternoon. I just want to leave a placeholder because I've
Right.
come back and gone, what was I doing here?
Sounds like
that's-
you should use a second shortcut for that there.
I
Mark.
feel like, yeah, no, it is. Well, no, come
He's
on.
gonna start
There's
talking
one
to his
shortcut
phone
which is
now.
like, I stopped
Remember
here,
to
right?
comment.
I stopped here. Yeah, right. Well, but not remember comment. And what was that, the SNL skit with
Line
the IT guy?
67, get user from database.
The IT guy was like, move, right? Like people would come to my desk,
Nick
right?
Burns.
Right? Remember, people would come to my desk and I'd be like, hold on. Like, I'd be like, wait a minute. And like, I had to stop and put my to-do in it. And I'd be like, yeah, what's up? Like, and then, I felt like a jerk. I felt like such a jerk because I always told people like, hold on. Like,
If it works, you're not a
if it
jerk.
works, you're not a jerk. There, that's a good one. There's another
There,
t-shirt.
you get one of those.
There we go. Yeah, one up. Yeah, but it's look, if it works for you, and if it's not stupid, right? That if it works for you, it's not stupid. And that's kind of my thing. Like I found those little hacks with comments, putting the to-dos in where I could always come back to it. And especially for the people that I think are transitioning from traditional ServiceNow development, right, into like, let's say, taking a deep dive into like getting VS Code set up, right? We've got multiple files open. It can get a little intimidating putting those to-dos in and saying, here's where I was, right? They're good markers, right? So that comments,
yeah,
like,
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
When you're working between files,
Mhm.
whether it's in Studio or VS Code, and you're jumping around going, well, I need to build this. I mean, I often build things in reverse order.
I do.
It's like
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
start at the high level and say, well, this needs to call these other three functions. Well, those aren't even written yet, but they can act as a placeholder.
Exactly.
So that's another way to do it is because the thought process always goes from highest to lowest level, and then you finally, it's like, oh, I need a widget. Widget needs server script. Server script needs to call the HTML. HTML is going to call client script, and the client script has to go back and do a REST call. With REST call needs a scripted REST API. Scripted REST API needs to call into the script include. Holy smokes! How do you unwind that? It's like, where do I start? So you got to maybe mentally draw out this little stack of who's doing what. And there was one place, I forget it was in the gamification or what it was. It might have been in some cleanup stuff on the karaoke app that it got really, really nasty. Like, this scheduled job is calling this flow, and the flow is calling this other stuff. And if I didn't document that, I knew I was like toast in a week.
Mhm.
So, and I had to go back and reference that again. Like, what were the 7 steps to get this thing working? And there it was. Like, oh, thank you, former sober self.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, even with the studio, right? With going back and forth, I wonder, because this happens to me every once in a while. I don't know if this happens to you guys. This is a little off topic. Do you guys ever like go through the list of things you need to build out to get like not feature complete, but just to get started, where you're like, just to get, let's say, I don't know, maybe this week I learned way too much about something called the faceted search widget, and it was just like there was just so much stuff to like get to the point where I actually could just pipe some results into the faceted search widget, right? And like, do you ever find yourself getting frustrated where you're like, man, like there's so much stupid work I got to do before I can do the fun stuff? Like, I don't know. Is that a unique feeling?
Rarely. It's usually on a newer technology. But if you've been doing, say, Service Portal or UI Builder for a while, you kind of go, yeah, it's part and parcel, and you know what that stack looks like, so it's not as daunting anymore. Yeah. But yeah, there's times where I've had to draw out pictures and go, oh, this calls that, and that calls that, and
sure. My peak frustration, which is probably why I jumped to ServiceNow, was I do remember when I was wiring C# into like SQL and stored procedures and writing every getter and accessor and every like plumbing it all the way through from the database all the way through to the front end, and it was just like, this sucks, man. I don't want to keep doing this. Like I just keep copying and and then
that was a really well placed 2 minute ago sound effect.
sad trombone.
Do you have like I have some sound effects, but here, you want to know what my sound effects are? Oh, it didn't work. It's Andrew going, all right.
I have the standard 4 or 5.
Oh boy, I got to get mine up and running. The one thing this stream has been lacking has not been preparation or any forethought or anything. No, it's sound effects.
It's production gimmicks. That's right.
We just got to make it look fun.
Turn this into a wacky morning show one way or another.
Oh
It's
no,
true.
other people are jumping on the faceted search train. I am in no near like
It's
my
faceted. It's been out for a long time.
it has
Oh,
to
did we
know
lose him?
one of my associate software. Oh no, what happened?
You're,
Was it
you're
me?
back now.
Your internet connection may be unstable. I so want a t-shirt that says that. I'm surprised I haven't seen one from Zoom days yet. Oh, he froze again.
He did freeze again.
Let's all freeze when he comes back.
And that's how you lose viewers.
I can't do it. That's how you lose viewers. Yeah, dead air. So, Jace, how about those comments?
Yeah, I mean, like I like comments from the peanut gallery. Like that's not what we're talking about though.
Wait till Mark comes back. Ironically, his logo in the background, if you can't see it, is //PhxDev.
No.
Right.
We
I
had
brought
closed
that up
out
in the
show.
beginning.
Darn it.
There you are.
We're not close. We're not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your show. You
No,
run.
you're
you
more
run
than
this
welcome to
ship.
close it out when everything just breaks and like it just turns off and I'm like, bye. Like I had the most guests on the show ever like 3 weeks ago, right? And then everything just turned off and I was like, oh, cool. Bye.
It's like the old days with a payphone. You have to keep paying 25 cents to
I did not put the dime in and it just turned off. Like
Philip.
yeah,
Faceted
faceted
search is a bit leaky.
Whatever.
Comments from the peanut gallery. See,
There they are.
There it is. Yeah, a faceted search. That's how we're doing. We're going to do the new search results. So one of my associate software engineers is doing all the AI search stuff for Now Learning, which is really neat. And those widgets are pretty cool, and some of them are even seismic, which is neat because we're getting into that territory. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, let's round it out with the comments. I think comments are like way more important than I think a lot of people realize, right? It's very stylistic. It's very much up to your personality and kind of how you're doing things in your job. But I think to me, the takeaway from this one is I think the more you can't have too many comments.
I wouldn't challenge the right person with that.
I think you can.
That was supposed to close it out, fella. Like that was supposed
we got to keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to close with if you're doing a personal project, put in comments. You'll thank yourself later. If you're doing a multi-person project, you're not a developer if you're not putting in comments for you and for the others. You have
absolutely.
to. It's just it's irresponsible if you don't.
If you have a code reviews process, like you should be calling out your coworkers if it's not clear what it's doing.
It can't go to production without comments. Like it just can't. I'm sorry, guys. Like
could that be valid comments, not like / blah blah comment.
Right. There has to be some.
I mean, that'll pass the instant scan checker.
No, it'd be blah blah at comment.
No, that's that. Yeah, like we don't already have processes that are going through and making sure that there isn't anything terrible in any of the stuff that we're already putting out. Yeah, like tagging people or whatever. Like it's great. Like I think I do it right. Go with what works for you and your organization, right, in your particular style.
But do not put your name on any of these comments. It will haunt you for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, totally agree.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, your name will be there in the history
forever.
Forever.
It'll be like in a source code history or something like that.
Yeah.
But if it's in the comments, man, you're gonna get calls at in 15 years about stuff you really don't even have a clue about today. I mean,
to be fair though, every time I've gotten comment or gotten reached out to about code, I left my name on like that. It's always been a great interaction.
Phil, there's another t-shirt.
Yeah, there you go.
// to do. Add a comment.
Actually, I kind of like that one. That one's good.
I think we have a sticker idea for our next set of stickers.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. All right.
I mean, it goes with the logo for PhxDev / to do. Watch PhxDev.
Oh,
there you go.
Damn it, Jace. Like, why do you we encourage each other way too much. It's not good. My wife's going to
stop enabling him.
Yeah, don't I'm already trying not to like make myself a custom hat, like, because I've been I like enjoying the hats recently. But yeah. Anyway, Jace, Chuck, thank you so much for jumping on. I didn't even open the Q&A today because we just kept going. Like, I didn't want to derail us too much. But yeah, Fred Luddy woes here. I love that. Anyway, so Jace, Chuck, I'll throw to you and let you kind of pitch what you're selling. Jace, I'll throw you up there first. Let us know all about it.
Come check out me on Monday at youtube.com/JaceNow and we'll watch the news together. Well, you'll watch me aggregate the news that I've aggregated from news.jace.pro.
Awesome. Chuck, I'll throw to you. If you got anything going on right now?
Just the usual feeding the machine. I am boning up on knowledge for the Tokyo release. We'll have our tech now for that on August 4th, which is early availability day on your PDIs. So hopefully I'll really be excited about that. The rest of my stuff, you can find family, food, fun, all kinds of stuff at chucktomasi.com. I just added some pictures from Knowledge 22 as well.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Jason. It looked like you that actually.
Did you just drop the release date of the Tokyo for PDIs?
Yes, August 4th.
Okay.
He's got to update his. He's got to go update his document. He's got a document of the release dates. Because I've checked him off on that.
What? This is crazy.
We've been syncing up. I have all the every official GA date from Aspen. I think I have most of the EA dates since like Geneva or something.
And with that, with the coming of Tokyo, reminder one more time: deltas are due. So get your deltas done. Get your CSA for free this summer. There's a lot of great stuff going on.
Wait, if you don't have your delta and the CSAs are for free, you shouldn't have any reason not to have a CSA by the end of the summer.
Right. Like anyone listening to this right now should be able to get a CSA. Like this is
hold on. Got a question. If you have a CSA right now and you don't want to pay for the delta, can you just do the certification again for free?
Yeah, but you gotta watch
people $200
all the training again.
This is my stream. How dare you with your gotcha journalism? Come on, no.
I'm just trying to save everybody a few more dollars. That's all. Trying to get those new folks.
He's gonna have a GoFundMe page for Delta.
Come on, no. I don't think you're gonna game the system that way. But if somebody,
somebody will. I guarantee you, somebody will.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, it is much easier to go and take the Delta than it is to go and take a web assessor exam. And I don't know how many, because I got my CAD live. I think I went to a testing. No, I got it at Knowledge 17 or 18. I don't remember what it was. They make you look, your camera. If you're in your room, they make you show their bed. It's invasive. Just go take the deltas, people. It's really not that big of a deal.
No.
Just go do it. Come on, please.
All the answers are in the release notes.
I know.
Almost word for word.
By the way, the web assessor exam, not open book. The Delta exam, open book. I don't know. What? Really? Really?
Nice jab, Jace. Nice jab. You got him.
Man, that blood pressure. Boo.
I just never thought about it before. But it opens up other questions I want to ask, but I probably shouldn't on stream.
That sounds like a good drop-off point, Mark.
Let me just make this point known. There's someone there's a reason that I can afford all of this stuff, and it just happens to be that I don't take questions like that on there. So anyway, moving totally off of that point. Thank you guys so much for being on.
Thanks for having us.
thanks for your hard-hitting questions. Chuck, thank you for the backup, because I'm so glad I wasn't the only employee on this one. This is the one that's really putting the screws on. Like, I don't know. Anyway, next week.
Look what you signed up for, Mark.
I know, right? Yeah, this is what I do in my free time, and with friends like these. I feel so sorry, Jace. I'm just hamming it up, man. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. Next week, a little bit of a surprise. I don't want to ruin it. The stream will be a little different. I don't have a topic I don't want to tell anybody about right now. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Yeah. So I actually came up with a tagline at the end. You guys want to hear my tagline? All right. Do
you want to go full screen?
No. Yeah, I do actually. Now I got to do it for this night. All right. Here we go. All right. Tabs or spaces, either way. Just remember, kids, trim your strings. Thanks, everybody.